All right, we're recording. It's July the 14th, 2015. This is a collective bargaining session.
July the 15th.
15, excuse me, 15. Collective bargaining session between the Board of County Commissioners and International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 79. I'm Jim Sheriff.
Kevin Fulford, Assistant HR Director. Bill Boucher, Public Transportation.
Jim White, Robert.
Doug Heck, Utilities.
John Schultz, representing Local 79 Business Agent.
Charles Radke, Fleet Maintenance.
Tom Longden, Fleet Maintenance.
Ed Seitzig, Utilities.
Randy Tadeusz, Assistant County Administrator.
All right, John, I've gone through the collective bargaining agreement proposal that we gave you on 6/30. Compared it to some of the provisions that you had given us the same day. Have a revised proposal for you. 4 copies. Do you have new proposals today?
I have, yeah, at least one, a couple revisions.
As we go through the county's draft proposal, do you want to stop at each one and go over what your proposal or counter proposal would be and see if we can
We
work
did
through
that
this?
last time, but I'm wondering if it was more confusing, just maybe we'll just go through your proposal and then just compare. I think talking about something, writing handwritten notes, and then following it up 10 minutes later with a written proposal is just kind of productive. I think, let's just go through what you have and then I'll just present what we want.
All right, I'll point out where my changes are and a couple of things that we've done. What I've done is I've notated the right column to indicate where the changes are. I think I captured all of them, but you'll be able to tell by comparing it to the previous one. You had made some suggestions on the preamble.
I guess you're right.
I've added that change. On page 5 of 49, subparagraph F, this is modified language county proposal, that when there's a written reprimand or warning letter, it can't be appealed, the employee could submit a response to it. The response would be attached to the written reprimand or warning and placed in the employee's personal file after it's acknowledged by the employee's department or division head.
Do you have any problems with using the phrase protest letter, the letter of protest? It's Teamster contract, that's our the typical phrase that we use in the spread.
Yeah, and the word written response, we should have letter of protest.
Yeah, any of
From our proposal, it's a written response in the form of a letter of
Share with that
protest.
too.
You might as well keep it right in front of you.
All right, I'll let you know after the first one, if that's acceptable. The next change is on page 7.
Just hang on one second. Who does this get submitted to?
The employee or the union on behalf of the employee can submit it to HR, to the department head or the division head. I don't have a problem with adding language specifying who it goes to, but it gets reviewed by the department or division head before it gets attached. It goes to the personnel file.
I just think that, number one, we should identify who it is, I guess. I think.
All right, so why don't we put the HR director?
Yeah, that's for that, because then it's just it's one-stop shopping for us, so we want to
Okay.
Less than 45 people who change their jobs. Actually, I'll have a comment to that, you know, using your language, but just kind of add a few things. That's up just quick.
All right. We turn to page 7 of 49, starting with F. That's a new language that I've added that sets forth what the procedure for the random testing would be.
And how is this different from the previous?
I don't think the previous one set out the details of the process. I think it stopped there.
So you'll expand
Right,
it.
they said anybody with a CDL.
Yeah, that is the details I was getting.
Okay.
Including the provision regarding selecting up to
Just makes the
10%.
pool bigger for me.
On top of page 9, your request to change the size of the patch to 2 by 3. We accept that.
What about collateral documents? Article 7, it's just the same as last.
Yeah, it's the same. Unless it's notated in the column, it shouldn't be a change.
Okay. What about our request to have whatever specific changes there were? I know that some of them were related to leaves of absence, I think. And the reason why is because my understanding is that unless something is specifically addressed in the CBA, then we use the backdrop of the career service manual. And so if we're changing and revising the language for the leave of absences, then there shouldn't be any need to change the date of the career service manual or the last amended date, unless there's something else. If there's something else, then we prefer to just put it in the contract.
Well, if you look at the career service manual that's online, at the bottom right corner, it shows you the revision dates on it. There's only a couple of pages where it shows the revision date of November 2014. So you'd be able to pick up whatever changes were made at that point. If you're looking for a version of it in legislative format, I'll see if we can find that for you.
Well, I'm not, I mean, you're the one that's proposing language to change something, so we've run into this before where we've, proposed something that asks for some direction of where it is or what's related to, and getting a stock response, we'll go online and find it. So if your proposal is to change the amended date of the career service manual.
We'll get you a copy of whatever's been changed, and it was changed in November 2014.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're going to
The 2 by 3 is fine.
I guess your research didn't go as well as you thought.
I found badges of all kinds. I just couldn't tell where they were made, and I don't want to. You made a comment, you wanted to have made in the USA,
I don't
so
think that's an unreasonable comment.
it would have taken me more time than it was worth to look for
And
find a vendor for
my
it.
union workers.
my union workers. Fair enough. It's easier just to say you can have the extra half inch.
Not to say they don't have organized labor in China, but.
Yeah. It's organized, the guy comes and beats it with a stick.
Anybody wearing one of those today? Just the old style ones?
They have one.
Yeah, you can look
Is
at
that a Teamsters
that.
badge?
No, it's a county.
We could put the voice and weight on there if you want.
Right in front of the building? I've notated 10 just to indicate that we reject your proposal to delete it or eliminate the administrative fee.
Sure.
Same with Article 11, we have rejected your 630 proposal. Takes us to page 11, we added the Seymour and the address. top of page 12, we made some proposals to add alternate stewards and human resource director instead of county administrator. That's okay with us, as noted. We've made a modification to subsection B about attendance at representative meetings, that will be limited to one union steward.
It's still unpaid leave though, right?
It's unpaid leave, right.
What's changed?
Right now, it doesn't provide a limit of how many people could come. So the more
Yeah,
people,
they
the
don't
more
wanna have,
disruptive.
like me and Doug did that one time, I guess that was too many.
Yeah, the fallout from last week,
Yeah.
having people that actually were there, you know,
The witnesses.
the witnesses, yeah. That's where that's coming from. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, understand it.
But that doesn't eliminate a person taking vacation because
Yeah,
of
they're
the
even
meeting
talking
under the
about
sunshine
witnesses
law,
may
right?
not attend any of the hearings. On
From taking vacation.
unpaid leave.
Yes, say, I wasn't at that meeting last
Except
Friday, I
that
took a
person is a
vacation day
witness.
last Friday.
Okay, well, now
Under the
they're not
sunshine
even
law,
wanting
I'm
the
allowed to
witnesses to
have that
come
meeting, right?
Unless they do
Well,
unpaid
I'm
leave.
not sure whether you're
that's-
allowed to attend that
yeah.
meeting under the sunshine law.
It's fucking,
But
it's a joke.
I don't know whether or not anybody's ever prohibited from walking into a meeting.
Okay.
I'm not sure that's the reason, but if you look at our revised language on subsection D, just a clarification that he wants to bring witnesses to meetings
Okay.
that people are on unpaid leave to do it.
Yeah.
Could have the whole workforce come. Nobody's getting paid to be there.
So if something happens during work and there's a witness, the witness can't even come unless he's unpaid leave, that's kind of, well, ridiculous if you ask me, but.
Well, we have language that says that witnesses are allowed to be present. The only problem is it's mutually agreeable. And I don't know, I think that might be under the,
All right, you can point that out to me. Just going over what we've changed here, and then we'll take a break. We've deleted Article 17, the union leave account. It's problematic to administer.
They
and it
believe
doesn't
in
seem
it,
to
the
be
bargain
being
never
used,
set it up.
or donations being made to it.
so you don't want to have anybody paid, or not receive any loss of pay for serving as a union steward, and then now you're eliminating the union leave account as well.
I think you should pay them. I think the union should pay the people it asks to be stewards, so that they don't lose
And that's your opinion,
compensation.
and duly noted. I don't think you've been shy about sharing your opinion in the last
And you've never been a
several
big fan of the union leave account. It doesn't seem to be functioning, so why haven't it been?
I don't think it was ever set up, to be honest with you. Barbara, you guys put in here that you were for it, but it was never set up.
Okay, next page 13.
Maybe get into it.
Clarify the language with respect to the extension of probationary period. To add that, about the middle of it, where it's bolded just a little bit, in conjunction with an extension of probation, the county will provide the employee with a performance improvement plan, identifying performance problem areas. And then the clarification that even into an extended probationary period, the employee still remains at will. The extension doesn't give them any different standing than they would have had as a pure probationary employee. That's my attempt to address one of the issues that you raised.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Page 16, seniority. We've rejected your proposal, we've been through it, and there's really no part of it that has any attraction to us.
Okay, no part of anything that we propose regards to seniority you're interested in that.
No, I think we nailed seniority when we bargained the first contract.
You nailed it?
In the current contract.
How did you nail it, Jim?
You signed off on it and we got it ratified. That's nailing it to me.
Well, we've agreed that in the future, we're going to move the language along as your suggestion. A union, at least we got some definitions this time. Let's talk about, during a subsequent bargaining, advancing the language then. So now you're just shutting down and just rejecting anything that we have in terms of seniority.
You gave us a proposal that we've rejected.
Okay.
All right, page 24, medical leave. Just clarification that on medical leave during probation, the time is accruing. If the employee needs to take time off, that's really medical leave without pay. It's not they can't tap into the accrued time. And for the period of time that leave is taken during probation, the probationary period is extended.
Let's see what we got.
Yeah, jump back to 19, thanks. Page 19. Oh, this is a change to this.
That's just,
This is the way it was proposed.
Yep.
It doesn't,
okay, so it just stands from.
just from our previous proposal. Article 39, promotions, this is new language for sentence. That vacancies and bargaining positions are open to all applicants, whether currently employed with the county or otherwise. The county is searching for the most qualified applicants.
But we're not doing that now. I know an employee that was rated #1 out of 25 applicants, and we use an outside company. So that makes them the most qualified. The employee never even got called for an interview. So you're not even interviewing the most qualified.
And I would say too, for example, in libraries, there are certain skills and projects that we do that no matter how educated or bright the new employee is, if they're not trained in them, there's no way that they would be a better performer than somebody who's been doing that job and been trained on it for 6 months to a year or more. It's just not possible. Particularly, I mean, the new employee would have to be trained no matter what. So there's no way. And even as far as library tech positions and other positions where they've never been in library roles at all, there's just no way that they would ever be able to perform.
Well, I would say that the phrase qualified, the term qualified doesn't necessarily mean trained. They could be otherwise qualified through education, other types of experience and the like.
I'll just
But
raise
the-
my hand as somebody who that did
Hire a
not.
bunch of
The key is, well, you know,
They'll do the job.
if you want to give examples, give us specific situations, so that we can,
Okay.
we can check out.
All right.
Your #1 ranked person that didn't get interviewed, who is that?
Douglas Hecht. That's HECHT. I applied for a labor 2 supervisor position with utilities. I was ranked #1 on the list. I never even got called for an interview. The outside company ranked me the most qualified.
I would say also on at least 2 occasions. In some cases, I was called for an interview, in other cases not. I applied for, at least within the collective bargaining unit, I've applied for a position higher than I have, than I'm at now. which I've been in for 11 years. I absolutely exceed the educational requirements by 3 degrees. And I definitely have been in libraries for a long time. So, to me, that would exceed the requirements of qualifications of any person who's never been in libraries.
Okay. You know, generally, I don't like to talk about individuals, but maybe it'll help us move forward that particular issue. We'll check out the facts from the county evaluation side of it and bring it back to discuss.
Well, I agree, maybe individual specific grievance issues, aren't always appropriate during bargaining, but I mean, that's the reason why these employees are here, to share some of their.
It's very helpful to get that, and I assume that your position with respect to both of these situations is that whoever filled the position is unqualified?
I'd say less qualified.
Less qualified. Same with you?
My answer was that the department called for every application that was filed, which I have never ever heard of before in the county, which means the department supervisors wanted to go through the applications and pick and choose who they wanted to interview. Regardless of their qualification, yes.
Yeah, and qualifications is kind of a vague term, I mean, what do you describe as qualifications? It could be credentials, it could be experience, it could be, a lot of different things, even disciplinary history could render someone less qualified than another candidate. And what always really upsets our side is the fact that you're hiring somebody from the outside that you really have no history on. And so if you take an employee who's been working here who has a good, as an example, 5 or 10 year work history, at least you know what they've been doing for the last 5 or 10 years. You really don't know anything about the outside qualified or outside candidate other than what they sell to you or tell you. And so that's always been problematic to us. How is it that?
Well, everybody sitting at the table here has been an outsider at one point or another.
Well, I understand that. It doesn't mean I necessarily came in and hop, skipped, and jumped and stomped on
Right,
someone who
and
was
it
there.
doesn't mean that they weren't qualified for the position they applied for. For example, I'll say, in one of my previous careers, for a long time, was as a litigation paralegal, so I'm quite familiar with how a law office operates. I would think that that would qualify me for almost anything in the library, particularly as a librarian, since I now have that degree too.
I don't know, known association with lawyers, that could be a negative.
Well, I would agree. I did think of some.
I think most of us sitting at the table, though, were first hired as entry-level positions.
Yes.
And then worked our way up.
And I even received tuition reimbursement from the county, which I'm very grateful for, but the county doesn't seem to appreciate that and want to, take advantage of it.
All right.
Well, we have a problem on the east side transportation. The lead driver resigned. That position was handed down, wasn't even posted for an interview.
That happens where I am myself. The person who's waiting for an open position doesn't even hear about it.
What position was that?
Lead driver,
Lead bus driver?
yeah.
When was that vacancy?
It's been vacant for about a month now, but it was never posted yet, and they just gave it down to,
Gave it down or temporary work at a higher class?
From what I understand, it was just given to Sherry McCarthy.
So, giving an open position to whoever the county deems as the most qualified candidate doesn't offer us enough. It doesn't change the status quo. And the status quo has been unacceptable for a number of years now, to at least have somebody, and let's just say, you know, because it happens quite often, a union member may feel that they were the most qualified and they got slighted promotion. At least having the ability to say that, listen, we have a grievance filed because the employee feels that they weren't given this position and they're clearly the most qualified for it, and for whatever reason, they weren't shared the information from management. At least it opens the door to say, listen, here's a candidate we picked, here's their credentials, this is their qualifications, this is their experience, and grievance, here are yours. And you can clearly see a night and day difference, and that's the reason why we picked employee A instead of the grievance. And so I would have no heartburn at all telling the grievance that, listen, it seemed pretty obvious to me the employee they selected is more qualified and better suited for the position, so the grievance doesn't have merit, grievance is withdrawn. And at least it takes the boogeyman out of the equation in those cases. And I think that might be a more rare case than what is actually happening, where we have people put into positions simply because of who they know, or who they're friends with, or who they're pals with, or who they're buddies with, who they hang out with and go to barbecues on the weekends, and regardless of what their qualifications are, it's more of a fraternal qualification. You know, you're my friend and you get the job. And so, you know, that's what we're trying to, it's not like we're trying to do anything that's unreasonable, we're not trying to do anything that's unfair, we're not trying to do anything that hasn't been done in countless other contracts, and just simply shut the door on it. It just doesn't help things. And frankly, what it does is just show that the county doesn't want to have any input on the truth. They don't want to have anybody questioning the almighty decisions made by the decision, you know, by the
I just
county.
asked for examples.
Sorry?
I just asked for examples, and we'll check those out, and I think we'll return and discuss this particular article with,
Well,
with
you
a
know,
full set of facts on
it always comes back to, why would either side reject a proposal that shines light on exposing the truth about something? You have to wonder, why would the county reject proposals that give an employee a fair shake unless they don't want to give the employee a fair shake? And it's just kind of, it's reality, you know?
Well, that's your reality, but it's
But
not
It's just the
reality.
reality of the universe, man. It's just, it's
All right.
it's not my
I think
reality.
Doug had a situation with this, and I know I had friends who, during the big layoffs that began in 2008, many displaced employees were told that they would be the first candidates for qualified positions elsewhere. Well, many of them interviewed for those positions, but then were told that they were not qualified, even though the positions that they had held for years far out qualified them than any new applicants coming.
They were told they weren't qualified, or that
Yes,
they didn't get the
that
job?
They were told they weren't
happens
qualified.
exactly.
After you were interviewed?
Right.
I built the Land Lakes Recreation Complex. After it was built, I supervised the Land Lakes Complex for 17 years. When the layoff came, I got laid off, applied for an entry-level position at the Land Lakes Recreation Complex, and I was specifically told I was not qualified for an entry-level position.
And I had a friend who was going through the same thing, who had been, her specific role was more or less as a public relations coordinator for libraries. And when they eliminated that position, and she'd worked for the county for almost 20 years in that role. And she was one of the positions laid off. And when she interviewed for other positions that were well below what she had been doing, she didn't qualify for any, supposedly. Well, that's what she was told.
All right, is that it? As far as your divisions to proposals?
Page 41,
We want all employees to work for
just
free.
added a clause at the end that 7.5 is referring to shift differential pay.
Is that the word pay?
I think I added the word differential and pay. Actually, I think it just said 7%.
7%.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I guess we'll take a break. And how do we communicate with you when we're done? I don't want to give you a set time and have you be disappointed that we go longer.
Well, give me an estimate, we'll just, one of us will come down and check with you.
Is there a phone that we can call you, or?
No, the numbers in that conference room.
Or they can call up to the office. and
Yeah,
somebody
call up
can
the
get us-
HR and we'll be in
Does
the.
does anyone have a cell phone, or just shoot a text?
Or, okay.
I'll just write the number on this. Shoot a text, say we're ready.
Do you have any written proposals for us that I could
In
look
light
at
of
while you're?
in light of what you shared with us, I need to talk to the committee before we go.
Would you estimate about a half an hour?
More or less.
All right, I'm taking a break at 10:05. 10:05.
Yeah.
And to,
Sorry.
had to leave early last time, sick relative that turned over.
My mother-in-law, she had rushed to the hospital, they put a pacemaker, so she's doing a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
But it was serious.
Yeah, yeah.
Her heart rate went down to 36.
Oh,
She almost
same
didn't
thing happened to my
survive.
mother, she recently, yeah, she's 80, same thing.
She's 88, what a difference. She's like
You
a
need that.
new person.
Well, you should read that after all.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for asking.
Would be affected by it.